well, maybe to start with the background. So the TutorZone at William and Mary.
Yes.
Um, and let's see, are you the director of the TutorZone or what's your official position title?
Mine is Assistant Director for Academic Wellbeing.
Cool. Assistant Director of Academic Wellbeing. So you're housed within Academic Wellbeing. Could you just like talk about the overall unit?
Yeah, so Academic Wellbeing is under Student Affairs.
Yeah.
It focuses on like different strategies, resources, things like that to help students. We also do a lot of the advising for students on academic probation and returning from suspension.
Hmm.
And we also run our success coaching program through academic well-being.
Hmm.
So in short, we house a lot of different resources for students that might be struggling academically.
Great. Perfect. And so talk me through just to get like the Penji side of things out of the way here. Talk me through um, the situation before coming onto Penji over the last year. So, um, I know some of it, but yeah, the scheduling system, some of it was buggy and all that. And so just talk me through what was going on before you launched Penji.
Yeah, so we were on Planubo, which was an independent like scheduling system that was based in Germany, I want to say. Um, there were a lot of weird glitches. Like, for example, it would send our students the appointment reminder in the wrong time zone.
Mhm.
It would also consistently lock half of our student body out of being able to log in, which they said was an issue with they just don't have the right password. But like I've watched students reset their passwords and then try to log in with that password and have it not work. So like it was a system issue and we were not being listened to and we gave feedback on what needed to be fixed. Um, the customer service, it was really only one guy who was the founder of the company who was, I'm not sure if it was a language barrier or what was going on, but there was some rudeness when we were going back and forth with requests for service and requests for things to be fixed.
Mhm.
Overall, our students found it a little clunky to use. Like it wasn't as easy as just go in and look for your class. It was like you have to do this and then find your tutor and then find like it was a few different steps that made it a little bit more difficult and less user friendly.
Yeah.
Um, and I think overall, what really got it for us was the fact that it was locking out students that had accommodations. So these
Yeah.
students were trying to get into the system to get appointments, and it took a lot for them to get there anyway. And then it would lock them out, and they would say, never mind, I'm not doing this ever again. And we would lose them as someone who would use tutoring or our support ever because
Yeah.
they couldn't get access to the system.
Right.
So it was driving students away from our office in general as well.
Yeah, and then particularly with populations that have a variety of challenges or friction, anyways, in getting into this service, that makes it probably even worse and more of an issue. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah,
yeah,
when Planubo wrote back to me and asked why we were no longer continuing with them, I said, frankly, you created an accessibility issue for our campus that you weren't willing to work with us to fix. Because the students that were largely being targeted, not targeted, it wasn't on purpose, but like
hmm,
impacted, I guess, by
yeah,
this, were those on the autism spectrum or
yeah,
those that have some sort of disability that requires accommodations that they would just get frustrated and not try to go back.
right, yep, and that just confusion in the experience and then literally being locked out
Right.
were two of the big sources of that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, great. That makes sense. So a couple other things here. I remember you discussing a lot of the sort of the time you had to spend managing with and fighting with some of these things in the program. Um, and some of that came down to, I think, let's see, scheduling. I actually wrote some of this down. Oh yeah, there's like no in-system communications, but all had to go
Yes.
through you.
Through
Would
email.
you,
Yes.
yeah, how did that look? Or like what
That
happened?
basically anytime someone needed to cancel or change an appointment, they had to email the TutorZone directly. And then I had to hope I could get to that tutor before they made it to the library for that appointment, which was always, stressful because I have other meetings going on and I can't always catch people. So I don't want to make them go to the library to miss an appointment if I had the information.
Yeah.
Um, so that was just a lot and a lot of like back and forth with students kind of constantly. At one point, it seemed like my entire job was managing the TutorZone inbox. when I
Yeah,
have a caseload of 60 probation students. Like that's
not okay.
not okay.
Yeah,
So the other thing was the other like really big thing is that each individual course had to be made on its own. So we had to go into Canva and make a cover slide for each course. We had to go in and individually like enter the 60-minute option and the 90-minute option and all of the different settings that came with it. So creating one class would probably take 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how skilled you were at doing it, how often you made
yeah,
them.
right.
So like when we asked our lead tutors to do it, it could take them 30 minutes to make a class because they weren't sure of some of the settings.
Yeah.
And in that case, we're wasting our resources paying them 30 minutes to figure something out that shouldn't necessarily need to be figure outable. It should be, self-explanatory.
Right.
And then when they weren't there, it was time that professional staff had to spend making sure all of our courses were in the system correctly.
Yeah, makes sense. How many courses do you usually support in a term?
We've gone up to 280 recently.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So it would be 280 times 30 minutes per course or times 20 minutes per course. So you're talking like 100 hours a term even. And,
Yes.
oh my goodness, that must have been hard.
It was a lot.
It was a lot. Just out of curiosity, do you have a lead tutor structure? Like what's your, how do you structure your tutors and
Yeah,
all that?
so we started with 4 lead tutors and then moved to 6
Okay.
once we had to expand the size of our staff because we divide our tutoring staff into teams based on which lead tutor they're under. And we found that having 4 left each lead tutor with like 35 to 40 tutors they were supervising, which was simply too much of a workload for an undergraduate student.
Yes.
So we moved it to 6, so they're supervising roughly 20 to 25. But they each have the responsibility to meet with their entire team at least once a semester and to meet with each individual member of their team at least once a semester.
Mm-hmm.
They also are supposed to be sending out timesheet reminders, so I don't have to, which is really nice. And they each have a different like chair role. So like one of my leads, he's our upkeep and supply chair. So he makes sure that we don't run out of expo markers because in the past we've had a situation where we've run out, I didn't know, and then the tutors started buying their own, which is not what I want. So we have him to make sure we stay stocked and that
Love
the
that.
center stays ADA accessible and people can get through it.
Yep.
And then we have a social chair that plans like tutor graduation slash formal, as well as like game nights, bring your own lunch, like picnics, different things like that. We're working on different ways to make those better attended.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a professional development chair who largely, this is a newer position. They've largely just worked with our career center so far to do some different workshops on like career readiness based on the skills you learn as a tutor.
Cool.
So like communication, being organized, stuff like that. We have a tutor appreciation chair who does like birthday bags and looks through the feedback on Penji and will reach out to tutors individually to let them know like, hey, great job. I saw XYZ on Penji and looks like you're doing great. Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
And then we also have, I think this is the last one, a time management chair who helps us with our time management consultation program. So she trains all of the time management consultants on like the different methods and stuff that we use and serves as their kind of lead tutor slash point of contact if there are any
Mm-hmm.
questions about that. Oh, and then we have a data chair too, which is something that we are newly figuring out how we're gonna make that work because we know we have data, we know we want to use it, but um, I'm gonna be teaching our new data chair how to look at the dashboard and all of that stuff to
That's
see if
great.
there's anything fun he can glean from that we can,
I love that.
yeah,
Yeah, it's always the challenge is there's a bunch of data and it's like, what do you do with it and
right.
what is in that data? I don't know. Okay, great. Well, that is super interesting. Really good stuff there. And yeah, we dig into more of that soon. So back to the kind of narrative here. So time, a lot of time was being wasted both in cancellation, changes, session management, because it was all going through you. And then we had, all the course setup and program
Yes.
setup was super significant as well. And then the sign-on issue, like fighting with the bugs, was that like a constant thing, or is it just more like a pain in the butt, right? Like, yeah,
I would say constant thing because daily we would get emails about I can't get in, what am I supposed to do?
yeah,
And then I would go back with try resetting your password and logging in and seeing if that works. It didn't work.
uh-huh,
What do I do now? Like
yeah,
I was
troubleshooting the tech,
right.
yeah,
I was essentially the tech support for this program for 1,200 students that were
it's
using it.
insane, yeah, crazy. So that makes sense. And then the last thing would be on reporting. So talk to me about trying to pull the data and preparing your annual reports and any challenges, both time related or otherwise, that came out of the reporting side.
So from the reporting side, I would say the biggest issue is that it just pulled one big spreadsheet.
Hmm.
Like it would just pull, these are all of the appointments you've had between this date and this date, and give me all of that data. And then I would have to go through and like take out whether it looks like it was canceled because they didn't have a good like cancellation or no show like modality that you could click.
Yeah.
So trying to figure out who came, who didn't, all of that, and then sorting to get our appointment numbers. Really, all we could get from that was the mass number of appointment numbers. We couldn't
Hmm.
really get like, I mean, I guess we could have if I'd gone in and spent a lot more time on it, but like, we couldn't have gotten the, hey, your French tutors don't look like they're getting as many appointments kind of data.
Hmm.
Or what's also been helpful is the circles that show which classes are getting
Oh
the most
yeah. Cool.
because we can assign group tutors to those based on the fact that they're getting more use,
Yep.
which is something I couldn't necessarily see in the old system when it just pulled a
Sure.
spreadsheet and sent me
Hmm.
on my way.
So kind of like you can kind of scan these reports and it'll just draw you to some easy low-hanging fruit decisions. Is sounds like one of the ways that you've been using Penji more.
Yes.
Helpful for us to hear like what the design should be or not, because that could be a bar chart, that could be a table, right? And those would all maybe do the same thing for you, but uh, yeah, the circles are fun as
I like
well.
the
So
circle.
it's
Yeah.
circles are cool. Cool. All right, that sounds good. And so right. So there would have been ongoing data cleanup that you were doing every week, or is that something like whenever you needed to pull a report, you would then have to spend an hour or two cleaning up the data?
It was usually monthly for our dean wanted monthly
Mhm.
data sent to her. So it
Yeah.
was the first of every month usually.
How many hours do you think it took you to get that done,
I would say
per month?
monthly, probably 2.5 to 3.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool. All right. Well, that sounds good. So, yeah, so it sounds like the biggest theme, well, there's two big themes. One is time spent you were spending a lot of time and you didn't really have the time and the program was big and it was holding the program back from growing and it was hard for you and the team and your tutors, right? So time spent is one category and the second is just student access issues.
Right, exactly.
And those are the two big themes of where the kind of pain points were.
Yes.
Okay, great. Anything else to add on that front, just in terms of like what caused you to start looking for other solutions?
Um, Otherwise, it really was just the attitude we got every time
Yeah,
we
the
requested help.
relationship. Yeah.
It was really hard. It felt like we were pulling teeth every time there was an issue, and the issue wasn't our fault, but we felt like it was.
Mm,
So the customer service aspect was also big for us.
yeah, and that's a big deal. You want to like have positive relationships in that front.
Yeah.
So that's helpful. So that all sounds good. And so can you describe, and we'll spend too much time on this, but like, can you describe when you were searching for, where, that was Planubo. Yeah, when you were searching for another solution, you met with Penji, maybe you met with other companies, I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
what were how did you approach that search and what were the things that stood out about Penji that made you decide that this was the right fit?
So probably one of the biggest things I was looking for was single sign-on compatibility. So Penji definitely checked that box early on.
Yeah.
We also met with, I think it's Track Cloud and
Yeah.
Pearl.
Yeah.
And I made like a big spreadsheet of all of the different data points I would ask them about. So like
Yeah.
cost, add-ons, if there was a limit of how many tutors, how students were able to access the system, um, if there was an in-chat or an in-program chat feature, um, what customer service looked like. The fact that Penji had the report a problem button that didn't go to me was big for us. That was definitely a big draw.
That's great. Yeah.
um,
Because you have an email that's set as the contact, and somebody else on your team is managing all these reported problems.
right.
Yeah. Oh, rather, right now it actually goes to Penji and we triage it to you.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Got
If
it.
it's something that needs to be me specific, it'll come to me. But otherwise, if it's just a system issue, it gets taken care of, which is really nice.
Got it. Because it would
Yeah.
always go through you, and then you would have to hit up their company. Oh,
Right.
that's
Exactly.
good. That's a subtle one, but I see why that would be important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I was also looking at, let me see if I can pull up the spreadsheet actually.
Yeah, that'd be cool. One thing I actually just forgot to ask you while you are pulling it up is, are you comfortable, or to what extent are you comfortable with me posting some or all of this like on our website?
Oh, I'm fine with that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Also,
I was,
are we
oh,
connected on
sorry.
LinkedIn? Do you
I'm not sure.
have a LinkedIn?
Yes.
Cool. I'll make sure we are. I've been like, it's kind of fun. I've been starting to post little like excerpts from calls that I have with people or students or something on LinkedIn, and it seems like a good place actually these days to reach to have tutoring folks talk about topics. So
Nice.
people are
Okay,
getting
cool.
more active on it these days, I think. So
Nice.
yeah. Anyways, keep going.
Um, I was also looking for how people submit feedback forms.
Uh-huh.
So we were previously using a Google Sheet that we would just post the QR code for all over the TutorZone, which caught some people but didn't necessarily catch everyone. So we were looking for how feedback was collected. We were looking for if there was some way to set some sort of a no-show policy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Accuracy and reliability was big for us based on the fact that the incorrect time zones and all of that stuff.
Right.
Automation was something that we were looking for, like for example, the thing that you guys released this semester of being able to automate emails to students in specific classes.
Mm.
That was something that was on our list, as well as automatic Zoom capabilities,
Cool.
and app versus desktop
Mm.
usability, because
Got it.
Canva was only, it had a web version, but it wasn't really all
Wasn't
that
so great.
useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Well, that all makes sense, and I could see why Penji fit bill on that front. Those are some of the things that I think we care about a lot. So that makes sense. And so you just kind of did that whole spreadsheet analysis, and Penji scored the highest sort of thing in your
Yeah.
review. Amazing.
Mhm.
Cool. Okay, great. And then talking through the launch process, how has that been? Both goods and bads, right? This is also partly feedback for me too. So how was the launch process? Was it easy to learn? How was the support? Did it go as fast as you wanted? How did IT integration stuff work? So just anything on launching Penji.
Yeah. I think it went relatively well. I think the thing that took the longest was getting all of the tutors in with what classes they're doing, because with those changing kind of every semester, it can be a little much to keep up with maintaining that spreadsheet. I think the issue that we have found is we keep a spreadsheet that's like the master tutor list, like in our own box folder. And then the one that's on Penji doesn't always necessarily match because we'll update something on Penji, but forget to update it in the other sheet.
Yeah.
So if there is any way that it can pull from like a box folder or something like that,
Mm,
that would be super cool. I don't know if that's even
good idea.
possible.
No, that's a good idea.
Um,
Is there any reason, just talk me through, Why or what's useful about having it in the box folder? Let's just say anytime you wanted to look at it, you just go to Penji, right? That becomes the single source of truth. Why would that be worse than the box folder?
So the only real issue there is that we keep other information in that master tutor sheet as well. So we also have like
Classic.
who their lead tutor is, what
Makes
the
total
class
sense.
year is, pronouns, stuff like that.
Makes total sense. Okay, great. Uh, got it. So tutors is the only thing that can be a little bit labor intensive, especially because you have 140 or something.
140, yeah.
140, yeah.
Yeah.
So that makes
Um,
sense.
yeah, the
Mhm.
classes also took a while, but they took, I would say, less time. Because that was mostly just us like looking at our catalog, finding the course name, transferring it over.
Yep. And then you don't have
Um,
to change it too much, hopefully, in
right,
future semesters. Okay, yeah, good.
exactly. Because my goal is to have as many classes offered as possible.
Yeah,
And if we don't have a tutor for it that semester, I just remove it. I keep a separate spreadsheet on my desktop of like classes we've removed so I can just copy and paste back if need be.
okay.
Um, just so
Makes
it's
sense.
kind of easy to access and we don't have to recreate the wheel. If I have to add 5 classes, I can just copy and paste from the sheet I already have.
Yeah, totally.
Um, Otherwise, I would say everything went pretty smoothly. We were all on board by the time we needed to be.
Yeah,
Support was good. Um, I think Talia did a great job of getting us all onboarded and all of that. Um,
yep.
I don't really think we ran into any major issues.
Good, good, good. That's great. Is there any moments like when you were getting into the product that you remember of being like, oh, this is gonna save me a lot of time, or like, yeah, this is nice, or is it like a certain report, or like when you're setting up the Notion, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
anything stand out in your memory?
The biggest thing that stood out to me, which might seem kind of minuscule, but I get asked about it like weekly, is how many students have we served so far this semester?
Nice.
And that's one of the things that pops up on the front of the data dashboard
Yeah.
is how many students have been checked in. So I can
Right.
easily look at that and be like, aha, the number is this, here we go. And it's a quick answer as opposed to me having to pull a spreadsheet.
Yeah. And that's something I've always wondered about. The homepage of the data dashboard, not the visits table, but like the actual homepage with says
Mhm.
key performance indicators. Is that what you're talking about as the place that
Yes,
you pull that? And so
yes,
because we don't know all the different semester dates for every school, we have it as like so far this year or this month or
yeah,
this week. Does that still get you the rough data? Because obviously that wouldn't
yes.
be as good in the fall as it would in the spring, but yeah.
But yeah, it does. Especially because our reporting is based on our years, based on not on semester, so I don't have to like separate it by semester.
Yeah.
So I can just do like overall, this
Oh,
is the amount of students we served when I'm like
cool.
writing up our annual report and stuff like
That's
that.
great. That's great. Uh, Great. Cool. Anything else come to mind in terms of just particularly features that you run into or onboarding moments where you're like, this is great? No problem if nothing else comes to mind, but
The other really cool thing was seeing how many hours everyone had left schedulable. So
ah,
I could scroll through and be like, oh, it looks like James got all booked, but Michael still has 5 slots available. That's interesting. Maybe I send an email to the
try and
Math
boost
111
that
professor to,
usage. Yeah.
yeah, just
We have
remind them that it
capacity.
exists.
Yeah. Nice.
That kind of thing. That was
Cool.
really helpful.
I'm excited to hear. So we're releasing a big. Did we send campaigns with the engagement stuff for y'all in the spring yet, or
I
were we
think
going
we
to?
sent one. I'm not sure if the others made it out.
Okay, great. We are releasing very soon, like a fully automated version of that, where
Oh,
you
cool.
go and build the sequence, where you're gonna like the preset templates are already in the system. You put which courses you want to send to, and then it has like those merge fields that'll insert the student personalized data in the emails, and you can just pick the date and then pick the templates, and it'll
Awesome.
just all be automated. And so I'm excited to hear what you think of it and like how you use it. So just let
Awesome.
us
Yeah,
know
and
how it goes.
it was really cool to see in like the automated thing because I think at least the first one sent
Yeah,
like the percentage of students that opened the email. I think was
right.
cool.
Yeah, I think that's the interesting thing. And once you get a whole semester's worth of data, so you'll get the percent who opened the email, you'll get who opened the email a lot of times, and then you'll get a list of people that have opened the email and have come in for tutoring, and
Cool.
then
Okay.
whether they're a new student to your center or not. So you're going to send all these emails to people in the fall, the freshmen, and or sophomores or
Yeah.
juniors, and then you'll see this student open the email 7 times and then came in for their first ever session on this date, and you can start to like piece
Cool.
together these students probably came in due to these emails, which is kind of
Okay,
cool.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'll be curious to hear your feedback after you get into it.
Cool.
Um, okay, great. That's super helpful. And then finally, just results after launching Penji, just to go through the main pain points you're aiming to solve. Access issues. How have those been mostly resolved, fully resolved? Feedback from students on this front, just overall access issues. How much have we solved that?
I would say it's pretty much completely solved.
Great.
With being able to log in with SSO and having the app, it's, I think as easy as we could have made it to be able to
Yeah,
get in.
good. Nice. Okay, that's great. Happy to hear that. And what about on the actual accessibility front? I know before you had conversations with students with various disabilities or learning issues, and have you had any negative experiences yet reported on that front?
No, I don't believe
Okay.
so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
no,
Perfect.
when we
Let's.
were with Play Nouveau, we had several students coming into the office to be like, here's my laptop, show me how to make an appointment.
Right.
With Penji, I don't think we've had that yet, at least not while I've been like present in the
Nice,
office.
nice, yeah. No news is good news on that
Yeah,
front.
exactly.
So yeah. Okay, what about time saving? So there's a lot of time you had to spend managing the program. Has that gone down considerably?
Yes.
How's that been? Yeah.
Yeah. I would say now the big time, like the areas where I spend the most time are going to be setting up that tutor list at the beginning of each semester with
Yep.
our new tutors because we hire, I think this semester we hired 55. So every semester it's gonna kind of be a little bit of a, not a chore necessarily, but to
Yeah.
get them in the
Yeah.
system with all of their
Yep.
classes. Um, Something else interesting that we've run into is that our university changed one of the majors and split it up into two majors. So now we're going through our Penji spreadsheets and updating everything to the new stuff.
Course codes.
Yeah, which has been interesting because we have to
Yeah.
update all the tutors and all of the
Yeah.
stuff that goes with that.
Uh,
Um, but thankfully, one of my lead tutors is in that department, so she's been great with helping.
great. Great.
Um,
Is there, let's see. So the issue, so when you hire a tutor, naturally you're going to have to input what courses they teach
yeah.
into somewhere. But maybe the place that it could be saved is that you have to do that in two spreadsheets right now, and maybe the formatting is different.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Perfect. Got it. Great. But then otherwise, you found yourself spending less time on program management tasks and customer
Yes.
support or student support and all that.
Definitely less, specifically on student support because all of the I got an error message no longer comes to me, which is really nice.
Yeah, great. It doesn't come to us either, so that's nice too. Or,
Good.
or rather, there's not too much of it, which is great. Okay, good. And then finally, yeah, no, that's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, good. Well, let's switch gears a little bit to some of the topics that I was bringing up earlier. So y'all have 140 tutors, and I really like this lead tutor structure. Um, that you have set up with the chairs as well. So are the chairs your lead tutors or are those two separate groups in a way, like the tutors and chairs?
The chairs are the lead tutors. So when we hire them, like this semester, for example, we had 4 lead tutors graduating. So we knew we had 4 specific chair roles to fill
That
when
makes sense.
hiring those leads.
Yep.
So we like ask questions about like how do you feel about data and stuff like that during the interviews to see which would fit
Who would be a good fit for
best
those
for,
chairs?
right.
Yeah, that's great. So let's dig into, let's see, the social chair. And yeah, we'll start with that. I think that's the main one. Um, So you mentioned a few things that are great, that are pillars of the program here. So we've got game nights, we've got tutor formal, which is fun. We have tutor graduation, two separate things, right?
In the past, they have been 2 separate things. This year they were one because we couldn't get a space for formal.
Got it. But intended to be separate things.
Yes.
Yeah. And you have picnics,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Anything I'm missing here are those four items, your key elements.
Those are mainly our key elements right now. We are trying to like brainstorm new ones,
Yeah.
to see if there's anything that maybe we're missing that could be an activity that our tutors really want to do. We tried a friendship making bracelet day and no one
Mhm.
came to that, so that was not a big
Not a
draw, we
hit.
learned. Um,
Yeah. But I think that is a really important thing to note is like you're experimenting with different things that may or may not work.
yeah,
And that can be a little scary for some folks, like try something and nobody shows up and then they're like, oh, this is disappointing or whatever. But that's the only way you establish stuff that works. And you have these four, like, I don't think a lot of other programs have a tutor formal. I don't know. I haven't heard of one, right? But
yeah,
you tried it and it was popular enough with your tutors that it seems to have stuck, right? So
yeah,
that's really cool. And so that experimentation, I think, is really good. I'm just going to write down, yeah, you tried the friendship bracelet one. It's kind
yeah.
of fun.
The tutor formal is what happened when you put two former sorority social chairs in charge of a tutoring zone. Because me and my graduate assistant at the time were both, so we both came into it with that mindset.
Yes, yes. That's cool. Your former GA, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so first, before we get into the specifics of these, what do you think is the importance of doing this at all? Having this tutor community piece. Why does that matter for a program?
I think it's important because as much as I am a resource for the tutors and as much as, the material might be a resource for the tutors, the other tutors are probably their biggest resource
Mm,
when it comes to, successfully tutoring, when it comes to different strategies, when it comes to advice about having a bad appointment, things like that. The best advice they're going to get is from people who have been through that themselves. And in a lot of the case, it's older tutors. So the most we can do to kind of connect them so they can talk to other tutors, maybe see what works best for them, see like different strategies or tips or tricks. Maybe they are working with the same student. Um, but also that support piece of knowing like, hey, it's not just me out here doing this. There's a whole group of us
mm,
and I can ask questions if I have them.
yeah, that makes total sense. And what does that do for your program? Like why is that important for the program and the student impact that you're trying to deliver?
Yeah, I think it makes it more of a cohesive offering. If all of our people that we're having put on this service are in communication with each other,
Yeah,
they're just more together. They can offer the same information. They can also be really helpful to be like, I took it with Professor so and so, but he took it with the professor you had. Maybe try scheduling an appointment with him. That might help you more than working with me.
yeah,
So, learning those little things about each other can help make better suggestions or better just better ways to move about the problems,
yeah,
that might be more successful and might be more collaborative in nature to be able to help these students that are coming to us for
sure.
academic support.
Yep. So just better quality sessions for the students, a more consistent experience for the students, which eventually, just leads to students telling their friends about the service, just growth of the
Exactly.
service, people coming back for more sessions, and just a positive experience there. So great. Um, Okay, that makes sense. So, digging into these specifics then, so you're giving them opportunities for the tutors to meet and hang out with one another uh, so they can have those relationships and support each other and being great tutors. And so you have these four things that have worked for you over time. Uh, the genesis of the tutor formal, that made sense. You had experience in sorority and Greek life land and brought that over, and it turned out to actually work pretty well there. So that's great. What about game nights, tutor graduation, and picnics? Where did you learn about or think about those as ideas?
Um, for the picnic specifically, we sent out a survey that was like kind of just a general satisfaction survey with your position in the tutor zone. And one of the questions we asked was, what is the like number one social activity you'd like to see? And we did get some answers that they didn't take the survey seriously. I'm not putting on a TutorZone rave, but we did get an overwhelming number of people say they want to eat lunch together. So we set up time in our back room, and we set up time on the sunken garden, which is like our big like lawn on campus, for them to all come and congregate and meet. And it hasn't had like we haven't had like all 140 show up, but we've had like maybe 10 to 15 show up each time, which I'm counting as a success.
Yeah.
For game night, that was me overhearing tutors at training, because they were all talking about the board games that they played and how obsessed
Mm-hmm.
one kid was with Settlers of Catan.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this might be the demographic we're pulling for. Maybe we set up a game night and see if people are interested. And they were. I also come from a big board game family, so um, we had
Same.
a lot of options.
Yeah, that's great.
And then for graduation, so I knew I wanted to get them chords because for being a tutor, you have to have a certain GPA. So I see that as an academic achievement to have a 3.0 or over a 3.5. So to me, that qualifies as you get a chord. So I picked out the chords and the colors and all of that, and then we ran into well, do we just have them come pick them up? That seems kind of anticlimactic. So we started tutor graduation where we have them each submit a picture, we have them each submit what their plans are after graduation, or if they don't have plans, like give me a fun fact. Um, and anything like their favorite memory at William and Mary, or like their favorite experience while tutoring, things like that. We have them all come in, we give them their chord and then their little gift, which is usually some sort of positive feedback that we've collected about them over the years. And we have pizza and stuff like that. And it's just a nice opportunity for us to kind of say goodbye because we don't really see them as much in person. And this
Yeah.
might be the last chance we get to see some of them. So,
Yeah, a long relationship in some cases, I'm sure.
yeah, exactly.
Well, and I think, you mentioned that one of the main reasons is that it helps the tutors get to know each other and support each other and be better tutors. But this one, it's at the end of their tutor tenure. So there's also seems to be just like you and your staff and, care about the tutors as well, right? And just want to
Yeah,
give them a good experience too, right?
right, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Couple follow-ups here. So picnic, do you do these monthly or what frequency do you try and do this right now? And then do you
Yes.
buy lunch or do you potluck it or how does that work?
We buy lunch. We do it every month.
Hmm.
And then it's usually a bring your own lunch situation.
Yeah.
We try to host it close to the dining halls.
Hmm.
So if someone wants to go and grab lunch from the dining hall, like for example, our office is right downstairs from the dining hall, you can quickly grab food and then go down to academic well-being.
Nice.
So like that's why we chose that location because it was, proximity to food.
Yep.
Um, yeah.
And there's just a number of tables and people can sit down in small groups or how have you done it?
We have a big conference room in the back of our space. So what usually happens is everyone comes in and sits down, and then kind of like little subgroups kind of break off and start chatting about stuff. Or someone will bring up like, I had the weirdest tutoring experience. 2T said this to me, and everyone in the room will go, "Whoa," and start having that conversation with them. And like going back and forth about their own experiences and like, what do you do if someone says something crazy to you in a session, stuff like that.
Right. So no structure, or is there any like kickoff, like you say, hey, everybody, like let's go around the room and say hi, or like do you just kind of, just organically conversation begins?
We usually start with, can you tell me your name, your year, and what you tutor?
Hmm.
That way, like, even if you don't recognize this guy from the chemistry group tutor group meeting, you
Yeah.
see him and you're like, oh, hey, we're tutoring Chem 206 at the same time. Like, let's
Yeah.
chat.
And so once you get around the whole circle and that's done, as it usually people are starting to talk or whatever and just hang out, or then do you say, great, well, we're just gonna hang out and eat lunch? Like, and, how do you transition from that like structured piece to the more informal piece?
Yeah, so usually what we've found so far is that we have a few repeat people that come and they tend to start the conversation. So, like, we have a few tutors that I think now have graduated, so we're gonna have to find new conversation starters. But they would come in and be like, "Oh my God, it's been a month since I've seen you. Tell me about blah 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 blah." Blah." And then other people would be like, "Oh, you tutor bio. Let me talk to that about that too." And like little friendships would form, and
Cool.
they would give each other like updates since they'd last seen each other.
Yeah,
And that kind of spurred the rest of the room into conversation as well.
that's great. Cool. Well, that sounds really good. And then on the game night side of things, just curious, what's the most popular game? Is it Catan?
It was, what was it? It wasn't one that I brought. It might have been Hues and Clues.
Using Clues. Never
It
played
is
it.
a specific like color game where you have to give hints based on like the specific shade of red that you're trying to get them to guess.
Nice. Interesting.
I think one of
Okay,
my leads brought it.
that's great. So people
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, and
That's great.
it was interesting to see like you could say Sears and everyone in the room would pick the right color blue, like that kind of thing.
Nice.
Interesting,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you've done one game night or you do multiple? Or you've done
We
multiple?
have done one so far, looking up to do at least two more this next semester.
How many people came?
This first one, probably about eight.
8 people. Perfect.
Yeah. We
Nice.
caught a lot of the computer science tutors.
That's great.
Yeah.
Back in our first year of existence, Penji was a peer tutoring app, where people would pay each other, like Uber for
Mhm.
tutors. And so we were doing marketing for it at UC Davis, and we did a Settlers of Catan tournament in the park, sponsored
Fine.
by Benji. We like barbecued, and we had like 30 people show up, and we had all these boards going, and then
That's awesome.
I don't think anybody actually used Penji because of it, but it was fun. So
That's really cool. My
yeah,
family is a big Settlers of Catan family, especially my father-in-law. So,
yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
yeah.
What's your favorite board game?
I really like Ticket to Ride. We have the
Oh
Euro
yeah,
version.
nice,
I'm a
super
big fan
fun
of that
game.
one.
Yeah, it's a great
Yeah.
game. Cool. All right, game night, too formal. So, how do you do this? What's the kind of implementation of this, and how does it
For
go?
Tutor Formal.
Yeah.
It was primarily me and my old graduate assistant Brooke going to my supervisor and saying like we would like a way for the students to be able to celebrate a semester well done.
Mm-hmm.
We want them to be able to, in short, have a party without having a party. Like we want it to
Mm-hmm.
be a safe
Yep.
environment.
Right.
Um, so we were given a very small budget. I think we were given like $300 to buy pizza.
Yeah.
And we reserved a room on campus and we put it out there that they could come if they wanted to wear their prom dresses, if they wanted to wear other dresses, like whatever it is they wanted to wear. They could bring dates if they wanted to. We did have a few issues with Wawa cups not having what Wawa sold them.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, no real challenges came up. Everyone got pizza. One of the tables brought their own cards, so they started playing card games halfway through.
Yeah.
But we got them doing the cha-cha slide, which was really my goal, so I was happy.
Excellent work. Yeah.
Um, but that was fun. And then the next year, we kind of combined it with graduation. And the location definitely brought us down.
Mm.
We were like, we didn't realize how early on student groups book rooms for events.
Mm.
And so we were trying to schedule a large capacity room in March for an event in the end of April and not getting anything. So
Yeah.
we ended up having to go to a building that was like off kind of on the side of campus, and we didn't get a great turnout as a result.
Yeah.
But this year we decided to bypass all of that and just hold it in academic well-being, and it turned out significantly better.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
When did you do it? How
We
recently?
did it April 16th.
Yeah.
It was mid-April. It was a Friday. April 11th.
Great. What has the
Um,
attendance been like through the years
the
or the
first
semesters?
year, I would say we probably got about 45, 50.
Amazing.
Yeah. Second year, I would probably say about 15.
Yeah.
This past year, I would say we were back up to around 30, 35.
That's so cool. So this in tutor graduation, I think you told me before, sometimes you get maybe 40 or so, or how many
Yes.
people? Yeah, 40 or so.
Yeah.
So both tutor graduation and formal are the most attended of the four. However,
Yes.
game night is new, and you could see it growing. And then picnics are quite frequent, right? So it's like a weekly thing or monthly thing, and so that's pretty good as well. So
Yeah.
amazing. Any other ideas you're excited about on the community building?
Um, we tried to start a tutor floor hockey team for intramurals.
Okay.
We had two people sign up, which was not big enough to make a team, so we didn't
No,
do it.
no.
But that would have been fun if we had gotten more buy-in. So
Yeah,
it's more, if you're at a school that's maybe more athletic as a whole, because William and Mary isn't exactly the most athletic of campuses, um,
that could work.
that
Got
might
like a
work out a little
sports
better.
school. Yeah.
Yeah, depending on school. Like if you
Yeah.
tried it at Duke, I'm sure,
And there'd be a lot of people ready to play
right,
lacrosse or whatever. Yeah.
exactly. Whereas at William and Mary, it was just not a very
Not as
popular
much.
option. We also have been toying with trying to do tutor yoga, where we like reserve the space
I
and
love
have
it.
one of our tutors who is a yoga instructor at the rec
Yeah.
do yoga for the tutors,
Great. That's great.
which would be fun. So my current graduate assistant is she was an athlete in college,
Yeah.
so a lot of her ideas tend to spring from let's make everyone go to the gym together and let's like have sport
Yeah.
related bonding
Cool.
events. So
Great. Have you tried coffee at all?
we have not yet. That would be cool.
Coffee, I could imagine, because at least for me, like in the professional slash entrepreneurship networking like world, community world, like that is the one thing that seems to work really well for people because it's a very productivity oriented group and
Okay.
sort of the idea of like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. coffee, like sit down with groups of five or whatever and just like chat about your academics or your career, your tutoring or whatever it might be.
Okay.
I wonder if tutors would, because they're all pretty often ambitious and they
Yeah.
probably love coffee, so I feel like that could work.
Yeah. We've also been toying with the idea of trying to start like a med school support group
Oh, great.
of
Mm-hmm.
like all the tutors that applied because
Oh,
they're
I'm sure
studying
there's a
for their
lot.
MCAT,
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
together to,
Help each other out.
yeah, and chat and all that stuff.
That's really cool. All right. Well, all sounds great. With our last few minutes here, so one of the things, like what sort of shifting to the student side. So one of the things we learned when I talked to a lot of students about AI usage and where it's headed is people are using it a lot for
Mhm.
studying now, as you probably know. There is a widespread, like, plenty of people that are not happy about the fact that AI is being used a lot, even though they themselves are using it. Like they know
Yeah.
they know it's wrong a lot. They know it's a crutch that maybe is not helping them actually learn the material all that much. But it's so tempting because it's like, here's the answer, I think, and here
Right.
it is, right? And so as the models keep getting better, which they seem like they will, to the point where you can now trust that they'll get the answer right most of the time, it just becomes, it's going to be used super heavily, I think. And so I think the question for a lot of learning centers is how do we ensure we retain like a unique value versus just like getting an answer to my study guide question, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm curious, first of all, any just random thoughts or observations you have on AI usage in the William and Mary student body, any impact that may or may not have had on numbers, which by the way, we never actually wrote down. You said your numbers are up by like 13% or something. I want
Yes.
to write that down in the story above, but is that what it is? Like, how's the
Yeah.
numbers been? Yeah.
Right now, let me see what our number is exactly because I think it's like 13.5% up.
Nice. Versus last academic year, right?
Yes.
And is that in total sessions or in total students?
That is in hours.
In hours. Total hours tutored. Great.
And we have had, where is it? Ooh. we've had a little over 8,300 appointments. So
Great.
we've and last year we ended like just over 7,000.
Perfect. So
Um,
similar-ish, maybe 20% growth in that case.
yeah,
Cool. Great.
pretty good growth.
That's great.
I would say the one thing that I guess is kind of showing up as a pain point for me is like we have all of the students log in with their emails and like their ID ideally. When I pull the spreadsheet, it doesn't give me their student ID numbers.
Hmm.
Is that something that could
Hmm.
potentially be fixable? Because that's how they're going to want me
Which
to.
which spreadsheet are you using to pull it? Like, is it the export or is it the visits table?
It is the export.
Great. Um, so do we have any IT integrations on right now?
I'm
Hmm.
not sure. I don't think so. I wasn't sure if the 93 number, the our student ID number, automatically comes over, or if that was something that we only got the email for the single sign-on.
Let me write that down to follow up with you. And I am still tracking, by the way. We talked about a feedback dashboard, easier review feedback, and that is still something we are tracking and looking at. So that is not lost in the mix. But let me write down to follow up about student IDs in exports.
Just because like our one of our associate vice presidents is our like data lady for student affairs, and she likes when I can send her the entire list of numbers that have used the service,
Yeah,
and then she can go and look and be like, oh, interesting. Only 30% of them are freshmen, or this is how many people lived in this dorm room, or
yeah,
like those kinds of things.
100%. Definitely having the ID number in the export is something that there's a way to do that. And I think it's we just need to turn on the student automated import, which by the way, like, is there a reason, do you remember, is there a reason we didn't turn on like the courses import as well?
The courses IT wouldn't allow us.
I see, I see.
Yeah.
Do we know if they would allow sending the list of students over, like enrolled students?
I am honestly not sure.
Okay.
I could try to ask, yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me follow up about what it is to make sure the student IDs are in there.
Okay.
And then we can go from there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. And sorry to interrupt, that just popped into
Oh,
my head.
don't, no, please, anytime. Um, so overall thoughts, any burning thoughts on, preserving the learning center's value as AI just takes a bigger
Yeah.
and bigger place in studying?
I would say preserving the value is going to be by preserving that interpersonal connection that you get by going to a tutor.
Mhm.
Whether it's someone who had the same professor that you did and understands some of the idiosyncrasies, or if it's someone who just really gets it and has a good way to explain it differently that might click well for your brain. AI is good at explaining things one way, but
Mhm.
a tutor might be able to say, it didn't click for you when I explained it in a way that was more visual. Let's have you write down the problem and you work it through and try it that way. Or let's have us try it this way. Like they might have multiple different approaches to help you absorb the material and get the answer right, whereas AI is only able to give you the answer. So it helps if you want to learn the process, tutoring is where you need to go.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, I think that's right. And that seems to be students' current perception as well. Is like the best learning you can do will still be with the human, the other student. But a lot of cases, I can just get a quick answer. Sometimes that's all I need.
Right.
Um, and so, are you thinking about any changes to training methodologies or anything like that, given this, or is it more just like keep doing a great job? Keep making sure they're doing the best tutoring they can, and just see what happens, right?
Yeah, I think we're going to encourage more, well, we're going to encourage more encouragement.
Hmm.
We're going to encourage the, hey, you did a really good job on that problem, or hey, I've seen a lot of growth since you were here last time. Like those little things that are going to tell people that they're remembered and that they like had an impact on the tutor's brain.
Hmm.
Um, and that they're getting that encouragement from the tutor to be able to be like, I am doing a great job. This is awesome. Maybe I'm not going to fail this test.
Hmm.
So really just one, stressing that AI is not always accurate. So don't rely on the answer you get from the AI platform. And two, try to be as encouraging as possible so we can get them coming back for that experience.
I think so. I think that's exactly right. Also, yeah, so I think it's two things. One is the encouragement, which is just like nice to get that camaraderie and encouragement from
Yeah.
another person. But then two, you also mentioned like the continuity, like the between sessions. AI
Yes.
is not so good at that right now. Of like,
Right.
oh, here's how you thought about it last week or last semester, and you really improved on your like way of breaking down these problems or whatever it might be. Uh, that helps a lot. So
Yeah.
great, great. Well, this is good. We're at time, and I think we covered a lot of good stuff. So,
Awesome.
thank you for spending an hour on this, and glad things are going well with Penji. I will follow up about the uh, ID number thing, and then we'll let you know about the feedback stuff too.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thank
Cool.
you so
Great
much.
to see you, Colleen. Have a good one.
Thanks, you too. Bye
All right,
bye.
bye.